Your new garden building needs an appropriate base for installation. For this corner summer house, we're installing onto a gravel surface, so we're going to use our pressure-treated timber porta base, available for nearly all of our garden buildings. Your base needs to be firm and level. For this building, you will need an area at least 207 cm by 207 cm. You will also need to ensure you have at least a 2-foot gap around the entire perimeter of the building for ease of installation and to allow a wood treatment to be applied later. All of the components and fixings are supplied with the building, so all you'll need is some basic tools. For this corner summer house, you'll need a posi drive screwdriver, a cutting tool, a step ladder, a hammer, a tape measure, and a drill with a 2mm and a 10mm drill bit. You will need at least 2 people to install this building, and we would recommend using safety gloves when handling the panels. Using your instructions, check all parts against the parts list, and ensure that all pieces are present and correct before beginning construction. Each wall panel will have 2 transport blocks attached to the bottom frame, which will need to be removed with a hammer. Begin by laying the door panel down, and slide the double doors into the opening, with the master door on the right hand side. Align the door hinge between the frame and the door as shown. Use a 2mm drill bit to create pilot holes for the screws. Pre-drilling is essential to not only protect your timber from splitting, but it also makes construction significantly easier. This should be done at all times. Use the screws provided to secure the hinge in place, and repeat this for all 6. Once complete, flip the door panel over to fit the lock. Align the lock over the keyhole before pre-drilling each screw hole. Secure the lock with 4 black screws. Place the small tower bolts at the top and bottom of the slave door and pre-drill through each hole. Secure each of these in place with 4 small screws. You will then need to use a 10mm drill bit to create a retaining hole in the top and bottom of the door frame. Start with the solid sheetboard or tongue and groove floor and position it on top of your base. You can now place one of the front window panels on top of your floor so that the framing rests on the board. Move the door panel into position on the angle as shown and secure the 2 together by pre-drilling at the top, middle and bottom of the frame and affixing with screws. Repeat this for the opposite front window panel, ensuring that the panels are joined tightly together. Slide the rear left panel into position as shown and secure in a similar manner, with screws at the top, middle and bottom of the framing. Insert the long side framing against the end of the side panel as shown. This needs to be secured in the same manner, by pre-drilling and then attaching to the panel framing with screws at the top, middle and bottom. You can now place the last panel between the back and side window. Secure it on both sides with screws into the top, middle and bottom of the framing. You can now attach the door handles to the door panel. Line the handles up before pre-drilling through each screw hole. Attach each handle with 4 screws. For the ridge beam, place an L bracket over the end of the bar as shown, pre-drilling and securing it with 2 screws. Repeat this for the other end. For the premium tongue and groove version of the roof assembly, please skip ahead. If you are assembling the standard version of the corner summer house, please continue with the following steps. Place the ridge beam between the back left wall and the right front window, level with the central framing as shown. Make sure the beam is flush with the top of each panel before securing each end into the framing using the L bracket. Place the solid sheetboard roofing on the ground and lay out the framing pieces as per the instructions. Slip each framing piece onto the edge of the roof board before securing it in place using screws at each end and in the middle. Once you have attached all of the framing pieces, slide the completed roof panel onto the erected panels. The framing will slip over the front of each panel top. Secure the roof panel to the panel framing below using screws. Make sure to also secure the roof board down into the ridge beam at even increments. If you are installing a tongue and groove roof, please make note of the following steps. Place the shorter framing batten on top of the front left window panel and secure down into the framing below at each end and the middle. Place the longer framing batten on the opposite back wall, securing in the same manner with screws into the frame below. Align the ridge beam between these 2 walls, level with the centre framing. Make sure the beam is flush with the top of the panel before screwing in through the L bracket as shown. Position the roof panel over the assembled walls. Secure it with screws down through the boards into the framing below. Make sure to also secure the roof board down into the ridge beam at even increments. You can now secure the walls of the summer house to the floor. Pre-drill down through the framing in line with the floor bearers and secure into place around the entire building. Both roof styles require the same amount of felt to cover. To felt your roof, roll out the included felt and measure using a tape measure. Using a cutting tool, cut the felt until you have the required strips, and roll them up for ease of movement. For this roof you will need 3 strips 3020mm long and 1 strip 1420mm long. Start with the back corner of the roof, laying the 1420mm long strip diagonally across so that it follows the same angle as the door panel. Make sure that there is an overhang of at least 50mm at the back corner. Secure the felt along the edge as shown in 100mm increments with felt tacks and a hammer. Roll the second section of felt out at the same angle, making sure to overlap the first felt section. Secure this along the overlapped edge as shown, with further tacks into the roof boards below. Repeat this for the third and fourth strips until you have reached the front of the building and the roof is fully covered. Fasten the felt to the edges of the roof with additional tacks as shown. When you reach the corner angles, use a cutting tool to slice the felt, allowing the corners to overlap and tack in position around the entire building. For the fascia boards, pre-drill holes at each end and in the middle to prevent splitting. Place these over the tacked felt, ensuring the board is flush with the roof edge. Attach to the roof framing with screws and repeat for the entire building. Pre-drill the trims in the same manner as the fascia boards, using a 2mm drill bit. Place the front trims over the joint between the door panel and the window side. Use screws to secure it at the top, middle and bottom, and repeat for the opposite side. The right, left and back corner trims need to be attached in the same method. Any excess felt from the roof can now be cut away using a cutting tool for a neat and clean finish. A turn button also needs to be attached to the top and bottom of the slave door. Position the button over the door gap and secure in place using a screw. The rear and side roof gaps are filled using additional framing. Position the longer framing piece under the rear left fascia boards so that it butts up against the roof framing above. Secure this with screws at each end and the middle as shown. Repeat this for the front side roof gap using the shorter framing bar. The rain guards need to be placed over the top of each window as well as the doors. Place the guard over the top frame, then making sure to pre-drill, attach to the wall panel with screws at each end. The final trims need to be positioned over the back corner as shown, and secure in place with screws at the top, middle and bottom of each strip. You can now remove the protective plastic coating from the windows of your summer house. Using a sharp knife or cutting tool, score around the entire edge of the window frame. Use the blade to remove a section of the coating from the corner, allowing you to remove the full sheet. Repeat this for the inside too, as well as the doors. Your summer house is now complete. For more information on this summer house range or additional options for your garden building, please visit merciagardenproducts.co.uk.